Welcome everybody to another installment of Throwback Memories. I'm your host D, and we will be talking about my true stories that I've been through back in the past. So let's get right to it. So this is episode 3, and today's episode I would like to talk about is my very first love. So let's begin. And all started back in 1984 when I was 3 years old. And one of my mom's friend, which she'd been knowing her back in the 60s, like them two, they has been friends for a very long time. And so one of her best friends adopted a girl. And this was Kim. Yes, the good old-fashioned Kim. And so back then, when I was 3 years old, one of her best friends came to our house, and that's when she introduced me to her back in the day. My mom and her friend, she all took us to downtown. And she took us to the museum. And as far as I know, me and her, we used to run around the whole museum checking out all types of history stuff and lots of cool stuff that we saw. There was a phone, one of those museum phones. So I pick up the phone, and then I was pretending that I was calling Kim, and then Kim was right there, like she was next, like right there. So me and her was using her phone and just calling like, hey, how you doing? All that type of fun stuff. I mean, it was so much fun just hanging out there and check out some history stuff, which again, we was kids at that time, so we didn't know what the heck was that back then. So she was only 4 and I was only 3 years old. But it's been so much fun, like it's been crazy. So from the years came on about, and I remember this, back in 1986, it was my 5th birthday. And I remember when she came to my birthday party, and so did my sister, and so did one of her friends. And oh my God, when my mom took a picture of us, she was like, "Say cheese, cheese," Oh my goodness, like just taking a pics of us, in my 5th birthday. This is the craziest part. I will say back in 1990. I think it was 1989 or 1990. I'm going with 1990. That was the year when I first experienced something very interesting. I went downstairs, and one of my first love, Kim, she was by herself and she was all alone. And me and her was playing house. You know what I'm saying? Just playing house back on stage. Like, y'all people remember house. I'm playing house way back in those days. Well, that's me. So me and her was just playing house. And one led thing to another, and then that's what she was asking me, do I want to get married? So I'm like, yeah, sure. So I went to the corner store back then, and I kid you not, I brought was a freaking ring pop. Who remember those ring pops? Who remember ring pops? Raise your hand. But yeah, one of those types of candies. And I think those were back then. I think those were what, 25 cents, or was it 50 cents back then? But they still sell them to this day, but at the Dollar Tree. Yeah, now you can get that for $1 now, but back then it used to be 50 cents. So I copped that ring pop, went back to the house, went downstairs, gave her the ring pop, and I told her I do. And so did her. She said the same thing. And so we gave each other a peck of the lips. Yes, we both gave each other a kiss, but it was just a peck. No tongue whatsoever, no. Now, here's the most things when it gets a little bit crazy. Now, keep this in mind. I was only 9 years old at that time, and she was 10. So she was asking me, now that we are married, what do married couples do? And me as a kid, I'm like, I don't know, what do married couples do? You tell me. I don't know. And then she whispered in my ear and then saying that they have sex. So I'm like, oh, okay. So what happened was she took off my clothes, right? And then she threw me to the freaking bed. And then she took off her stuff. And then that's where the whole stuff happened. So again, keep this in mind. I was only 9 years old at that time, and she was 10. And this happened in 1990. 1990. So it was a wild and crazy experience because I never experienced that. I never ever did though. And the feeling of that, it just felt so weird at that time. Like, it felt weird because she was on top and me, I was just laying down and just thinking like, I don't know what the heck is going on. So that was my first time having sex. 1990. Yeah, I know it's really nuts, but hey, that's what really happened. But as the years go by, when I was a preteen, and this is the sad part that happened, back in 1992, when I was going to the store with my ex at that time, me and her went to the corner store. It's called Skips, which it's still around to this day. So if y'all people don't know what is Skips is a corner store. They sell food and all that stuff. And that is in West Inglewood, in my old neighborhood. But anyway, me and her went there, and then as me and her was walking home, she was showing me money, and she showed me lots and lots of money. So I'm like, where did you get all of that money from? And she told me, well, I got it from somebody who though, and yet she wouldn't even tell me until she told me the real truth, that she took the money out in my family house. Yeah, it was basically the cousin money. So basically, what happened was that just around that time, she was just telling me that, hey, let's go take this money right now so we can buy everything. And then being a stupid kid that I was at that time, oh yeah, sure, let's go and steal money. So me and her sneaked in and we went to my cousin's drawer. And let me tell you, there was a stack of money everywhere. So we took about, if I can remember, Whew. Okay. Sorry about that. Where was I? Oh yes. Being a stupid kid I was back in the day, I said, yeah, sure. So what happened next was we went to our house and then we went upstairs. We went to my cousin's room and we opened the drawer, and lo and behold, a full stack of money was right there. So what happened was I took about probably $100. Yeah, like $100. And then she took 200. It was nothing but $100 bills everywhere. It was probably about, I would guess, $2,000 in that top drawer, like $2,000. So I took 100 and then she took 200. And then we ran back, we went outside, and then we went back to that damn store. And then that's where I bought, again, I was just a kid at that time, so I was 11 years old. I brought some freaking baby food. I literally brought some baby food at that time for my stuffed toys. For my freaking stuffed toys. And then I brought a freaking toy gun at that time. You know what I'm saying? I brought junk food at Skips. And then my ex brought was some freaking toy dolls, and she brought food too. And I also brought some Garbage Pail Kids cards around that time. Also because I was a huge fan, and to this day I'm still a fan. So I definitely copped those too. Then we went back to the house and we were just enjoying our lovely junk food and freaking baby food and all that type of stuff. And then it came to very suspicious that my mom and her friend was like, and then they was like something like this. What the hell is going on here? And why all these food around this floor? Like, why is there so much junk here? Like, there was seriously so much junk around this room. And they got to thinking like, okay, wait a minute, there was something's fishy. Where did they got the money from? Where did they got it from? And so like my mom was like this, okay, I think we already know. Dee and Kim stole money. Yeah. you know what? We're gonna pretend that we have a big surprise for them, right? Yeah. So from that point on, the very next day, when me and my ex was sitting down and watching The Last Dragon, that's when my mom and her friend was like, hey, we got a big surprise for you, so can you come downstairs? So from that on, me and her went downstairs expecting for a huge surprise that my mom and my friend was about to give us. Oh yeah, they give us a big surprise. All right, they gave us something like this. This is the big surprise right here. That's the big surprise. So when we finally got caught, my mom and her friend was yelling at us saying that, well, where you got that money from and like how you got it and all that stuff. So I talked first and I told my mom, okay, let me explain over what happened. So I was telling her that, look, it was Kim. Now, Kim told me about this getting money faster, and she was telling me that we can take this money easily. So I explained to her that we went upstairs and we saw money everywhere. So I took like $100 and then she took more. So that's what happened, Mom. So what else happened was we both got our butts tailed up. You know what I'm saying? So again, this happened around 1992. And I was 11 and she was 12 years old around that time. And looking back at that, I'm like, I should have just never listened to my ex. I should have just followed my own ways and never follow her. And that was my biggest mistake that I ever done. And believe me, that never happened again since. So basically what happened next was I have to pay my cousin back. So the only way to pay him back now is I have to do some house chores. I have to clean up, and I have to do is clean up outside, inside, just to make money. So I made 20 bucks after 20 after 20 after 20 bucks. So that's how much money that I basically made just to pay my cousin back. Yep, just to pay him back, basically. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I did. I basically paid him back every cent, except for my ex. She didn't pay back nothing. And that's sad because I wanted her to pay him back also, but she refused. And that's freaking nuts. You know what I'm saying? Like that's absolutely crazy that she didn't pay back. But anyway, back to the story at hand. Me and her still had sex. Yeah, we had sex back in 1993, 94, 95, and 96. Scratch that. 95 was the last time. And boy, oh boy, I got to tell you of that year, 1995. But that's another topic for another day. So, from past goes bys, me and her have a off again, on again relationship. I mean, it's just high school shit back in the day. She was seeing someone and then I was seeing someone. But that doesn't stop us of me and her being like this. Me and her was tight back in those days. And I gotta keep it real. We love each other back in those days. And I'm telling you, me and her had so much fun. Like, it was so much fun hanging out with Kim back in those days. Like, it was, y'all couldn't never ever imagine. Oh my God. That was great. Anyway, stay tuned for episode 4 of Throwback Memories. And I'll see you next time, y'all. Holla at your boy. Make sure that you like, sub, share. And I'll see you next time. Peace.